He knows. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, tambo so chichana. Nimbo to je ko chishi mashi.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Small fish dele.
So first of all, Tashdale to all of you. Welcome.
Yeah, tambo le tanda. Yamdo dan sim ju ko sanji chu so shwa che shon ko chi.
So first we're going to recite a small little prayer on refuge and bodhicitta.
Yeah.
Maybe you know it.
Yeah. Ane sanji juban so ji chong ai chang jo pa dan jas. Da jin jo so ji be chong ji do la pen chi sanji jo ba sho. Yeah. That the sik tele sik chi that sikani tambo ni de jam ro che tamani de sim chi de.
So this prayer, it's composed of 4 verses, the stanza. The 2 first verses are about refuge, and the last 2 verses are about bodhicitta.
Yeah, that's nambi ane ta shong sha chana ane jamdo de sinjis jamdo se de tambo namba le ya juksa go na ko de jamdo ka shin res ta ya jugni yan chik namba le ya ju go de jamdo chi tini chuchemba chuchemba le ju go de simji.
So in Buddhist scriptures, in Buddhist culture, so these 2 things, they're known as the doors. So the refuge, these first 2 verses that are about refuge, this is the door that tells you that you're a Buddhist. So this is when you enter the Buddhist path, the door is refuge. Mind generation or bodhicitta is the door to enter the Mahayana path, so the great vehicle.
Yeah. Tati chik jamdo da simji se de namji ne ki chungbo chi ka tser chen namji on so yembo tobshi
So in one thing that's very important, these 2 doors, of refuge and bodhicitta, it's very important when we talk about the 4 opponent powers. Maybe some of you have heard about it.
Yeah. Tati tonda karre se unde tanga zui so so chamal mesina ya tachi leka ya pe mo che ores ina dewi chole tachi karsa tachi so so non chen do se nanda kanta tachi nambi mi chuzi ga kan ka shin dik pa se se ta kanta so so chi chda man te me leka india ma so mo che sho res.
So basically all of us, or most of us in our lives, there are things that we do, good things, we do positive things, and we also do many negative things. That's basically how we carry on with our life. Using a Buddhist term, we call these bad things negativities. That's a term that we give to this negativities, like negative actions.
Yeah. That indeed you na tachi tadenga so pena chi tati so so chi non chen jo ngeli ya kar che me this so ya teni tati so so le pa chang do sin na so so di pa sa sha so so le chi do de na chi nga chi ni chen ba chi na pena de san chi de ni do chi kuma ja do da yo na chi kare na tin ji so so ni pa sa ya shura ni pa ta ya chi de chim khang na jo yana pecha ge chapa te go na yana chi zongla na lo ni den zhe wo nga sui wo dan da su ni ba sa shan ju de da ye ta phi ke shi press.
So basically these 4 opponent powers, so when we engage into these negative actions, so if we remember these negative actions and we identify as negative actions, well, these negativities, they leave an imprint on the mind. They leave something on the mind which will cause an effect. And in the same way that a person in society, for example, a thief, it steals something or something else, and then this person has to pay a fine or has to go to prison in order to make this right. We also have these methods to solve these negative actions, to deal with these imprints of the negative actions.
Ko ta kantar tsirtang mante me chawa shi che ati le saksi le yang le duga de le ngien ba si no
So basically in Buddhist terminology, we're going to say that doing these actions, we use the term to accumulate negative karma. This is the meaning of accumulating negative karma.
다 딘디 소소가 다치 랭에 바스는다 소소가 직자 출동만 된게 지어나 다데 다야의 치 가르치에를 좀 되리야 책임 조시는 유지스가 시어.
So in order to purify, in order to clean this negative karma that we have accumulated, what can we do to purify it? Then we talk about these 4 opponent powers.
Yeah. 다디 레칸도 소소가 남지 직자와 다디 자세는다 컨트롤링이 바 사사티네. 아니 니 윤조시마 소네 윤조 니라 되는 사고리스. 니의 가르세는 지금 소소가 자비르 다 건조습니다. 디솔이 직접 도서 등만이야 좀 직접 니바데 신전래요. 다 신전래야 준노바지야다 건다 딘지 다 망보신 거라 리온.
And there are 2 objects, there are 2 things, for example, support or 2 objects upon which we accumulate this negative karma. And these are basically, one of them is our objects of refuge, so which would be the 3 jewels, in this case, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And another object upon which we accumulate negative karma is sentient beings.
Yeah. 다직 이래 신전세용데 디나래다 수소가 지금 연구르게 다직 로미 다직 저거 가래인데 정말 진짜로래 이마인게 다직 수소가 아주 동대에 무슨 진짜
and including on sentient beings, we can include the people next to us, our friends, human beings. We can also include animals, the insects, etc. All of these beings.
Yeah,
and how do we accumulate this negativity? So basically, how do we accumulate these negative karmas relating to the 3 jewels, to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha? So by doing activities that would displease their minds, so doing activities that are not in accordance to what they want from you. Here we can think about the 3 jewels, or about your lama if you have a root guru, etc. So the first one of this, we talk about the 4 opponent powers. The first power is the power of support.
Yeah.
So the first, including the support, you take support into the 3 jewels or in your objects of refuge by taking refuge in them. So related to our prayer. And the second one, well, the second ground on which we have accumulated negative karma are all the sentient beings. And how have we done this? We have harmed them. We have done things that are not good for them. We have killed insects, animals, and we have with bad words towards people. All of these things. With the second support, with the support of the bodhicitta here, we make a decision that from now on, I'm going to do my best. All my activities, all my works, all my thoughts are only to benefit, only to bring good things towards other people, and never to harm them. So it opposes the negativities. So in short, with the support of the refuge, you from the deep of your mind, of your heart, you have this trust in your object of refuge. Why do you have this trust in your object of refuge? For example, we as Tibetans, we have taken refuge in another country. We are taking refuge in India.
가르치는 접주에서 오늘
Why are we taking refuge in
수수
India?
롱반나야 같이 컨터 라완조 수수 가레나 티체 마토에 샴바지리아
Because in our country there isn't this freedom, there is no independence. So we have to go to another country and you have to ask, please, you know, be a refuge for me.
다 된다고 단단 띵아서 잠내 콘쇼스는 접주를 돼. 다 수수리야 딩가시 강아지 테네. 강아텔이야 아니 강아데 하고 강아데 아니 줘야기 체대. 다 접주사 다 고조마도 대마도 민두사마.
So in a similar way, when on top of seeing the sufferings, on recognizing the sufferings, and remembering of all the sufferings of samsara, we have this mind that sees these three jewels, these objects of refuge, as something that has the power to help us to be free from this suffering, and then we request refuge. Usually with refuge, you say there are two causes for refuge. One, what's the first one? So the first one is being afraid of suffering, and inside suffering, we talk about two kinds of suffering. So the first type of suffering that you're afraid, the first one are disadvantages of samsara. Disadvantage of samsara, and the second one, the lower realms.
Yeah.
And being afraid of the sufferings, having this fear of the suffering, then we turn our minds towards something that we think is able to help us, to save us from this suffering. And then we have this one-pointed mind, very one-pointed mind, that apart from this, nothing else can save me from this suffering. A complete trust into this object of refuge. And if we want to have the best kind of trust, if you want to have the best kind of trust, then it should be based on a not blind faith. It should be based on a trust, a faith that is based on reasoning. But of course, at the beginning, and for us beginners, it's hard to have this trust.
Yeah. What is
the need? What is the need of having this trust? If we have this trust, then whatever are the advices that we see from this object of refuge, for example, of the Buddha, if we hear about these advices, then it's much easier to put them into practice. The stronger our trust is. But among the three jewels, right, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, what is the actual object of refuge? What is the actual thing that has the power to free us from suffering? That's the Dharma. That's our practice.
Yeah.
For example, if you use an example, the teacher, the Buddha, for example, if you go to an unfamiliar place, so we need a guide to show us how to navigate into this place. The Buddha is this guide. He is giving you the directions. The direction itself, the guidelines are the Dharma. And just having the guide, if you don't follow the directions, if you don't listen to the directions, then there is no benefit. In a similar way, it's the directions themselves, by following the directions, that you get somewhere.
Yeah, that was it. Then the so 다른 남도 나셔나 신 수석을 다 주념을 제때 다 약속이 지그리스 잡잡네 원이데
in brief, the practice of the Dharma or following these guidelines is the best object of refuge.
Yeah, 다때 다게 당보듯이 잠도듯이 로아 다 잠도듯이 생기듯이 된지 돕세. 다 니바디 강래오나 안에 다 소소가 다게 강시하는 소소가 다 미세 고리야지. 지금 만들바 니바도 가라 사연에 대창마야 된거 그래서 tembasanto mase tati nibasa jonje susu simlas tati ndumudo asabsams tingi bersama.
So the first support is going to be the support of taking refuge and bodhicitta, very important. The second one, so basically as we were talking before, we remember all these not positive, these negative things that we have done in our lives. We remember them, and not only remembering, we have the feeling that it's not okay to have these things inside our minds, to have this accumulated, this negative karma.
대형 다시 딱 벤전데 간데죠 소소그 직 칼라 직 등도시 소소그 사샤요 하고 소나 다 듣게 소소 다 고반노 듣지래요나 다때 가르치는 게 매바 최고에나 삼아 빼 소소 빼는 직 가서 빼 격보 쉬우도 매바 최고야 그만 봤던 거에는 매사고나 양 취지 고정도 최고 띵아서 제대로 왔어 대체바 나신지 삼로때 당도 그래
An example of that is given here in this point is, for example, let's say we have eaten a poison or we drank a poison. So the moment we identify, first we identify that we have consumed something that's going to harm us, and then we see that this is going to bring us harm. So where does our mind go? Instantly, our minds go straight to, I need to fix this. So I need to take an antidote, I need to take a medicine. How do I make this okay? So in the same way, that's how we need to think with this regret. The second one is the power of regret.
Yeah, take kableyang. Take penna. Indeed, took chisai kableyang. That's also Tapsi karatangare, so zipo in nayang, kalaya, posaguya, zupoya, topia, the mena, the tutti, so nova mansinegro. Tendro, that's some locartan gorisena. So nibasa shanjuti, jinses on the social depotan and Jogomata. When a Tuxangedi, Tangan Dumason and so long langamaro. Took the carchin the Mevacheco, took the Mevache, Chitrotain, as the voice was a tambos as you attend over time was a Samlo Gandhi. Jobache Coralon, the young so with Tapet Solia, and the chick Controzaya. So in the
same way that if we have consumed poison and we see that this is bad, we instantly want to fix this, we want to get an antidote. In a similar way, when we take this poison, we don't put ourselves down, we don't get angry at ourselves, or we don't in a similar way, when we cultivate this regret towards our negativities, the bad actions that we have taken, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not about putting yourself down for having done these things. It's just about recognizing this presence, seeing that it's something bad, but instantly your mind goes to making it okay, to fixing it.
Tati kableya soso taki tik soso le sabi kableya zikpote ane tik sa son ta pesa son kalaya ma sa nye ma kepe te che den zikpo chori tik ma no kami.
If we consume a poison and then we get very worried about this and we get so worried that we cannot do anything about this, and so we cannot eat anymore and we cannot sleep anymore, and if this happens, then the poison is only going to harm us more and more and more. In a similar way, when we accumulate negativities, we need to identify these things as negative. But directly looking at the opposite side of the negativity. So basically how to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tade chikchi tade nibadi kangle so tengwazin tuk jiga nanshin ta job chikarsa tele nyoba chen ting nyebar tingi tate niba sangyo to taya tapshi kundu samba teres. Okay.
Yeah, so the second power is called the power of regret, and is recognizing these negative activities, negative things, negativities that you have accumulated, and recognizing that you need to do something about it. You need to fix it.
That's somebody gone.
The third power.
Somebody got some. That's so only Jason. You the Mandiba wasn't, but anybody wasn't Sarva. That's somebody call it that tender will like at the moment. It's not any chimneys.
So in the second one, we have identified negativities. During this third one, so we have looked at the past. In this third power, we are looking at the future, and we are making a resolution not to engage into these actions again. Erika has a question.
Back to point 2, can you elaborate more about the difference of regret and guilt? Because I think we Westerners often go in the guilt direction.
Anybody gone raw.
Anybody gone.
Yeah. That number taki gonna pay John over it. Do the so anybody lek Karacheto person a pen taki condition. So Masin only and leka Yapo Mamushu chair. In a Yabo change your thing so Yapo and Bangamazi. Chinunja days church on you, me in a lamsa junju chigre, conunkish. Me churanga Yapo change the Mishra, Delia, Donoshi Chima. Me churanga nunja change the Mitsama Donachi, Lamsa junju choni, and it's so ma, I shouldn't progress. Temayimba, so Yapo change the Tachitanti Walia, and the Tamadino Legri, Chupa Pias. So Yapo chiati. Once in Chito. When you Turkando Nagazu Messina, Yapoche, Mabo Shuyer. No to the pain,
Usually in our lives, as he said in the beginning, we do many bad things, yeah. We do many good things here. But usually the way the society works, the way we work, is if there are good things, people do good things. If we do good things, we think good thoughts, people don't pay so much attention. Sometimes even we cannot recognize, we cannot identify these good things, but then people also don't pay much attention. When we make a mistake, when we do something wrong, everyone sees it. Everyone criticizes you. Everyone makes this very big, and we ourselves, we also make it very big. So inside this four opponent powers, the last one, where it's going to talk about the antidote, it's going to go more into this positive side.
Taina Karayarsen was so Karchene, me Susoina, Suso Yamnu Hakura, Michi Notichi, Namsa, Milipanga Suchi, Midi Karchi with Ajicha, Judge said, Masul Komshi Peshik Chumura. Karzena Arzu, Nyomoda, Tindiwang, Pen Dojati. The Wang Komshi Namsa Milikunji chat, the Suso Yamnu in Hakura, Namsa Lapchocho. Mediabuchi. She wish you would take Simba thing. Kita do something about the same thing you see around Korea. She had bad news.
A habit that many of us, it's easy for us to have is because of our negative emotions, it's easy for us to look outside when we're looking at people and to judge them or to analyze them in a way to find faults. And it's very easy to see faults happening. When they do something wrong, it pops up very easily. This criticism in ourselves. And the opposite of this, which would be when someone does a good thing, and we can rejoice about this, right? We can be happy that they're doing something good, but this usually doesn't come as naturally. It doesn't come as instantly for us.
Yeah. Tangonichinan 다 뒤지 양사 아니 다 배는 소소 논천의 제시하나 다지 소소의 논천의 논천 정말 송삼바 미 조조제 소소야 된정 못했으면 남사 마세요 심줘야 다디 갑려야 미 조조제 그래 다디 가돼요 말아 다 소소 가르쳐 거리세 다 소소 원이야 지다게 나지 소소야 돔식도 소소야 가르쳐
domshikna domsembe
말에 돔식 스트레인트 게 가르쳐 거리세요 데르다 이제 갑래 소소를 내가 약본 방법이 지어줘야 되니까 손들지 그래 내가 sembacho goya medwas leka yapo mambu shuiche wasam soso sondar kambe durni durtona soso ya leka chikno chunchi shoya de shu shamba de la rentang chimu yoba de soso sorko soso yapo chia de soso le ya rani leka yapo chia de la gawa gawa monte jisiransia
Yeah, so when we do something bad, when we commit a mistake in life, people are probably, if people see it, they're going to criticize us. This is not something that we can stop. That's something that happens. But from our side, we can have this inner strength. We can have this inner strength and compare, be very sincere, saying, okay, there are negative things. There are also good things. There are also positive things that I have inside myself, that I have done. And this is something that we also need to identify. We also need to make an effort to recognize these things and compare both of them. Compare both sides in a very sincere, honest way. And whatever it is that we have done good, whatever it is that we have of positive inside ourselves, it's extremely important to rejoice in this, to be happy about this, and to also keep this in mind. He's saying that this has a connection to another question you made another day. Don't remember which one.
Yeah, when
we were going to Buck's waterfall. I wasn't around. I wasn't around, I think.
Yeah. They carezena pena kundina mengana lekacha. Mengana lekachi kam mengan.
Mengana lekachi gablani kondo sana.
Ta mari mi mamboshi korosebe. Mi mamboshi korosebe. Mi tonsale mi mamboshi ta jimenju che ma dui zhongdo ya. Tindi pe sem kana te. Ani yang di kam le ya ta chik de da nienje ku. Pamare nienje re ta kantar. Tisuya yoda chishigro. Tadini kam semban chinema te pe ta pe sas. Mi menjun dindi chena chikchena kyap to yosaresas. Menjun do chele ya. Chikchena nge shamba de chena kyap to yosas. Mitia so kyabya. Dindi samlo momboshile ura ta semba kamati.
Tsering got to get it.
What was it?
Pero mengana lekachi kennedy. Minjo kyavechela ni mijik tuna.
And so Kurosum Delia, me mombosh Tondo, Tondo Colata, similar combat. Correction and image chatted nutritious and some nutritious cigarette. In a so many best come best courage, Tata the Chegor. So many people can you. Yet the Tombo teaching journal.
So yes, I think it's related to actually LA's question. So it was about sometimes in the hospital, the people that work in hospitals, they get habituated. They see many times people dying. Sometimes people might even die, people that they're treating, and it can occur the thought that could be because of a mistake I made, that this happened, and mistake could actually be there, could not be there, and because of these things, also the people closest to the patient, to the deceased person, they're going to also say bad words for you, or they're going to blame you, and etc.
Yeah, that indicably, Tana Konosaidina, me leka yabo, me kazim mobile pento joyer. Leka Monichina member, this woman, me momboji, Ranjang Tondre. Taina Koso, Menji che, me momboji, chick so javata, pentoyade. Mitsu Shitang on the man. Takarze Mika Shishi Tron, Tachi. 수송원이 빼니바 가요게 같이 미 mam볼 펜토 줘요.
Yeah. But if we think of all the good things that a doctor does during his or her career, if there were no doctors in a town, in a city, how many people would die if there wasn't the help of these workers? But when we analyze all these good things, the good side can be much better. But people don't give so much attention to these good aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they make a mistake, then it's very blamed and very criticized.
Yeah. 디가블레다 수송원이 니바 가요 그 내가 제어서 다들 그 니바 가요 바디. 니바 수송원 니바 가요 바디 그 다춘도에나 메주는 제어로. 당연히 때마다 니바 메스 니바 메주시 강 수송 센터잖아요. 아니 지그래. 니니 수소를 내가 약고치 나랑 경원이 펜토 들이 뭐보이더스 뒤니가 냠도 지오나 양 수소 강을 material pepe
So also from one side in life we can only do as much as possible, right? We can only do as best as we can, and if we are working doing the best as we can, it's useless. It's useless to worry about what we cannot do. It's usually to worry about doing a perfect job when it's something that we cannot do. This from one side, and from a second side, keeping in mind these positive things, keeping in mind the positive, the good things that we have done, etc. Maybe if we can keep these two sides, these two thoughts, and that helps us not to have many problems. For example, I'm gonna say a little example, small example from my life. When I was doing the exams to become a Geshe, during this one day, I was having to give a writing exam. So during this, what was the mistake I made? I didn't read the question well. If I don't read the question well, then the answer is going to be not so good. And then when I was discussing with one of my classmates, and we were reading the exam, and I saw that I hadn't read the question well, and then everything, all the answer that I gave didn't make sense. Actually, if I had just read well the question, I knew the answer. I knew exactly the answer to that question. And then my classmate really criticized me. He really said, "Oh, come on, you didn't read well the question. How come you didn't read the question?" I was very sad about this because I didn't know whether I had passed the exam or not. And the second thought that I had, I did as best as I could. I did my best.
소송원이 책적은 논조선 요마로 소송원이 삼로의 직가서는 소송 니바로 다다시 만당네 야보시 셈바 야보시 때 마트네 논조 근조로 근데 당하로니 니바 가야지 tapi 니바 맨조싱하는 센터 체되나 쇼 this.
Yeah, so I had the thought that I did to the best of my capacity, and whatever it is that crosses the boundary of my capacity, so whatever is more than this capacity, it's a bit stupid for me to worry about this.
this samlo chi korwa so
I had this thought crossed my mind.
this samlo ko ekono pet simba na kanga cha me chas.
And then really when this thought crossed my mind, and really this problem just really dissolved.
Yeah. Tinjawo so ngoni kanga yo le ka chi che. It's so chinga so nipa karena ko che chi.
So it's like this, doing to the best of our capacity, and whatever crosses this boundary of our capacity, whatever is more than the best we can do.
And they only did so nipa mandang ke chi center check on na. And churching is so good.
If you worry about this, it's a bit stupid. Yeah, please.
But not to criticize you or anything, but was it really his best ability because he didn't read it properly?
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Kanto to ngone getcha gya.
Yeah, karchina nga pe tiktu ngi pa nga thogo. Let pe kale mo ba job sare. So chichana
I really made a lot of efforts to pass this exam. Yes, I really.
chichana gonda do niya ko kiyo mari
I'm not sleeping at night and studying the whole night, etc.
He was just reading it quickly because he was under pressure and something.
Yeah, we have 3 hours to write the exam.
But
I don't know, sometimes it happens. I don't know, you just sometimes things happen, yeah. He was first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what if you failed? Because what if sometimes your best is not good enough? And in my experience in the Western world, it's a lot easier to blame yourself, because then it's easier to control that than like hearing the criticisms from other people. Like sometimes, or actually oftentimes, what my experience is that people will blame themselves first so that they can handle the criticisms from other people. Which I think is a very different way of seeing things from a Buddhist practice, which is a lot of the self-compassion. For me, I see a lot more, I read the question wrong, I failed the test, I don't care what my teacher will tell me, I didn't read the test, I'm stupid, all of that, it doesn't matter anymore, because I will not sleep at nights thinking that I must be stupid, I can't believe I did that, that was so stupid, all of that, like,
you understand?
cycle.
Yeah, usually in the West, people will blame themselves. They blame them first to deal with other people criticizing them. You know, so comme she yeah, do you mean lose it? Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a question with this.
I guess the question is, thank you for clarifying. I think the question is, how does one change the mindset of trying to control the situation, because that's really what they're doing. They feel no power because they failed already, and so by beating themselves, maybe they have some sort of control, but clearly it's not healthy.
In my opinion, there is maybe there is a big relationship, a strong connection to the way we study and where the environment where we grow up. Why? Because nowadays, if you look in our society, when it's a very small child,
저런 건 좀 그래서 저런 먼저 용 말했어.
그럼 이중 용기 말했어.
콜레 배 칼라버다.
Yeah, so,
상마 저런 건좀 그래서 야시. 초칭이 배 약보래 돼. 초 셴바진 상마도. 뒤에 강아지 태우는데 배 남성님 나 같이는 만들리세 시구라.
yeah, so we have this, for example, from very, very early ages, for example, children. So there is this tradition of being very, very hard on them with their studies. And yeah, you need to become someone, you need to become something in life. And if you don't become something, someone in life, then it's not okay. From one side, that's good. From one side, that's good. From another side, when problems happen, when unexpected things happen, then there are a lot of problems with this.
나도는 나랑 살면 좋사.
For example, where I grew up,
나도는 살면 좋아야 돼. 뭐지한테 공부하는데야. 살면 좋죠.
most people where I grew up, they grew up in a monastery, right?
공부하는 게즉 럽경제 땅데
In
가르쳐.
the monastery, the way to study, the way they give
저런
study.
가디는 저런 마사송 그랬어. 저런 배 냠총다 수수 즉 남이 한발 세셔. 그래서 수수 마사송 그랬어. 로경서 섬어들이. 아니라니 근래 마다식스. 배는 미치지는 미치는 거 맞다. 즉 가르치는 있는 거랑 지시한 거 전에 수수 마셔된다 섬사로 담고 그랬어.
수수 마시는 것처럼
시험 거 전에 가랑 교슈 다 미치가 별 차셔. 이노네 교슈도 나이 습선. 이 가르치는
sonando ya buyur.
이 사블은 이पर 고야. 이 요나 가르핀도 그러잖아. 성арger다. 아니 작도다. 수성만 셴발라 땅노지 수선 셴발이 지세로. 배디성도 식충.
So there is a tradition of being encouraged for the students to not see themselves as the best or to see themselves as being even the worst, you could say, like a mountain. Like you don't put yourself up, and it's encouraged to be humble about your education and about your studies. And so this is done like this to avoid arrogance, to avoid pride, and also for us to rejoice, for us to be happy when someone is doing well in their studies, etc.
야고 셴바데 시은치어데 셴바데 미야와 따고 나오데 셴바데 야고치는 스스 지세라마데 스스
So when we see that someone is doing very better than us in the study, someone is more intelligent than us, really it doesn't only comes to rejoicing, being happy for the student. It doesn't come with feelings of jealousy and competitiveness.
Yeah, then that's 그런 정글에 좀 답에 참아 저라 제토 그러지. 저런 니바요래 저런 그 비다고 차그래. 근데 로병식 치무체 초진이 대상이 지서 연계 망시 민행을까지 시에서 배 뽑아도 뭐다. 배야 보도 만도이나 초진이 견자 가려는 민행을까지 시에나 직시 못해한다. 그래서 수수배 시에나 가르기 전에 마고 인생 삼로식 뭐 장사로. 근데 다티 견데 니가 요래서. 다시 한번 중국에 사마리아에서는 소속의 집에는 익세로시. 익세로시 말로나 딘소소소다. 내 가르치는 거 말. 샴바스 마스미 반드라 집바리는 로경 집바지는 내 가르치는 센테고 말씀은 남서수소 공부사.
Yeah, so in contrast, so in other societies, in other places, so there is this very strong habit of always being having this always having this advice that you need to become the best, you need to be the best, you need to be special, you need to be someone, etc. And this is very, very much so. So what's the effect of this? What's the result of this eventually? The people that end up getting there, the people that end up becoming very learned, scholars, etc., they many times they have some pride, like a arrogance about them. And from another side, looking at ourselves in the monastery, something that can happen, a bad thing that can happen, is because of always seeing yourself as I don't know, always seeing yourself as not special or not. Then it can happen that it's hard, or can be hard for us to share our knowledge, or hard to share knowledge, to talk about some topics. When we talk about when we go explain something to someone, we cannot really talk about this because we feel like we don't know about the topic. So both of them have some disadvantages and advantages. Both traditions. And then yeah, in the others, in this tradition that you have to be someone when you don't pass an exam, but the person, your classmate, passed the exam. So why didn't I pass the exam? You know, then this feeling can come very, very strong. Oh, this is not okay. This is not okay. What have I done? Yeah, Rika.
My question was going in the same direction, and it's like more about this expectations, because there's expectations that other people put on us, like we have to be the best, and it is that get ingrained in us. But after a time, our own expectations often become like worse and more intense than the ones that other people give us. And then often when we make a mistake, like I've seen a lot of people that try to do the purification practice, but they're really hard on themselves. You know what I mean? Like, how do we deal with this, that we don't like, that we like maybe regret, like, okay, I have done something stupid, I have harmed someone. How do I make it that I regret that I've done something wrong without like going into this like guilt tripping, I'm the worst human, I'm so shitty, this kind of direction, because I think it's like a tough balance to find.
Beto chagireya ngaransogi rewa beto chagire and di chana ani pena topshi ni ko kola nantana ni na gyopa na ni beta ko chagire be keripe yeah ni gyopa di beta ko chagire yeah pe shikshan ko chagire ni and yeah, ni gantas with the
that is
healthy way gantas.
Expectation of the only Koyra. I know some chick, Bambosh, some Tayachi Carton, Warsu, Susu, Chixiungi, and Susu Lekachin, Susu Che Nibal, Techi, but some down to not. Techi. Limit euro. Then some Matan, the Pedca River, Chubush control. It took my the Maton is Susan.
Yeah, so about expectations. Expectations, they are necessary in life. So we need to have expectations. If we have no expectations for ourselves, that's not okay. Chocolate. No expectations, that's not sorry, I got distracted. There's no expectations, that's not okay. But we need to be honest, we need to be able to place a limit on our potential or on our power or on our expectations. We need to place a limit. If we allow our expectations to grow high and high and high, that can be very problematic for us.
Yeah, that's talking about yes,
yes, about creating this regret.
And
the second one inside the four powers. So when in the second stage of the four opponent powers, what are we creating regret? Where are we directing this regret, this feeling of regret? The place that we direct this is for our bad actions, right? These bad things inside of us. It's not towards us. We don't create regret towards yourself, towards I. We create this regret towards these bad actions, bad things. It's not about the I.
Yeah.
You and your actions, you and your behavior, these are different things.
Yeah.
This regret, the function of this regret is to help us to change the behavior.
And then the
So this regret is just directed at these bad activities, I recognize these are bad things. It's completely not okay, these bad things. And then with the power of the resolution, you decide not to do these behaviors again, basically.
To what they do.
Can I ask just,
Yeah.
can you explain again, what is, like, what are we covering? The four opponent powers. So what was the first one? Taking refugee?
The name of the first one is power of support, and then is refuge and bodhicitta. Power of support.
The first one is divided to two.
Yes.
What is the name of the power of support?
Support.
And it comes from taking refuge and bodhicitta.
Yes. Yeah.
Tenji tense na yurt la. Yurte yurni la tene samla tam. Yurte ta ki karsan susu dikpa cheyate che sa yurni yores. Chigde ane susu ta chi gama so tikma nya maga so te chikche. Nipa te susu dan ramnya senjen so le no pa che te so le ya.
So this.
Ta tini ya ane karsaru. Ote samla ta.
So this first power of support, when we say support means the object of your negativities. So it was directed towards whom your negativities, the bad things. So then there are two objects. So that's the three jewels, so Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or sentient beings or other beings, right?
So the negativities, they are like I heard the free jewels or the sentient beings. I don't understand what you mean directly.
Exactly, yeah, like the three jewels, he said now too. The three jewels are, for example, so the three jewels are the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. When you do things that are not in accordance to them, and then you like they don't like what you did, you know, you do things that the Buddha wouldn't like. That's in a way to accumulate negativities towards the three jewels. The second one is harming any ways we can harm beings, living beings. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yes.
Then maybe we'll say Shibate.
And then the fourth one, the fourth opponent power.
And this
is about the antidote, the power of antidote.
Yeah.
What is this?
아니 주바비야세. 단 주바비야세 하다 딱 건조래야 주바비야. 아직 잠발에 김바타에서 신고라. 딱 건들 주바비야 창지야. 아니 고란도에서 한도. 되니 직 나도 있는 뭐 디안도. 다들이 뭐 보신 그래. 다들서 그런 데 되게 같이 시고 그래. 또요. 그런 제대면
Okay, so in the first one we saw the objects of our negativities. There's the power of support, and then we see what are the negative negativities we have. We make the promise to not engage into these negativities in the future. And then this fourth one is what's usually included in the antidote. So it's practicing a virtue, for example, offerings to the Buddhas, prostrations, the mantras, the recitation of mantras, etc. All related to our motivation too.
Yeah. For
example, thinking about offering.
The
main offering is the mental offering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are mental offerings. There are also offerings of speech, for example, offering praises, etc.
Yeah, they might be touching chuba pila solo chi shin long ro da karena tini metoda de so chi pide chuba kong ro re.
And also we also have the custom of offering, for example, flowers, fruits, etc.
Yeah. Ta ina ya suwo de
The
ta chi
main
ngo bo gen chuba le ye jin chuba chi ji chuba yi jin chuba so so
Chugi chuba.
chu se ta yi jin chuba de. Te ya shu de tsire. Yeah.
So the main one that is considered as the what's considered to be the best one is this mental offering. Yeah?
다 간데 고래서 다기 강을 지어는 수수 맞힌 논이야. 안다 수수 레카 약보 가르치샤시. 대야테 대레 지시야체. 된저외데 당원이 따직 아니 건조스미네 특이하게 수수.
So
근데
basically here during this mental offering, you remember what we said before also. You remember the good things you have done, the good activities, the good qualities that you have cultivated in yourself, and you offer these things, these good things, to the three jewels.
다디 딘디게 제한테서 삼로치 당나 가래 무슨 수수위치. 근데 니마치게나 들이 공다라 다들이 쇼파는 간다베. 내가 가르치샤시. 대야 삼로치 당. 다디는 그 야와 내가 들이 야고들이 제샤시. 대야 셈네 딘 내가 가와고 다딘저워시 공리공이야 수수. 아니 지 공배당도야. 니마지말라 ele mans chetoya. Indeed, some of them.
So we have to remember these things. So we remember thinking since the morning until the night, what have I done? And we also try now to identify the good things that we have done. And we rejoice, we are happy about these things. We cultivate happiness, a feeling of joy about doing these things. And we also make a sort of a promise or a resolution to increase and develop more and more these positive aspects and these good actions that we have done.
Ngamatwa nyalemba talama so ani so sitini chatang ani tikolia so doya to stone carbo ta napo mambo shisha ta so leka ya borere che kable kaborere yasha dibo ani mandiware chone naborere cha ta tini kondare ani ta kate madu ani sondar che tini nyalemba.
There is an advice, a common advice for practitioners. We try to have white stones and black stones. And during the day, if you see that you did something good, you put a white stone. If you see that you did something bad, you put a black stone. And then at the end of the day, you look at the stones and you check how is the balance of the stone. What is the benefit of this? It helps you to remember. Today, maybe, especially being in the beginning of the path, yeah, probably most of the days our black stone bio is going to be higher. But the function of this black stone bio being higher is not to make us give up. But yeah, to do this practice, you really have to be sincere. You know, it's not just throwing stones. You have to be very honest with ourselves.
Yeah, that take culture. Oh, that one chipdrone, tangi the drum with us and trains of the that now put bed got them in some amount with that the nation, Nimata, Dawata, Loda, in the H, some not on the Gina. And it's being now put in your Cabo Shole, Marim. Tea Susa Carpe, Susa in your name, the area, they cut the area.
And then seeing sometimes that this black bio of stones is 2-3 times higher than the white stone, then it's easy for us to recognize, oh yeah, I'm not doing many good things. And then with time, slowly, it goes increasing, it goes balancing these two bios. Yeah, 20. Yes.
Sometimes I'm not sure if the action that I did is good or bad. For example, today I decided not to go to volunteer in order to come to this class. And I thought about it before, I thought about it a little bit before I decided. And eventually my decision was mostly based on like experience that I had a couple of days ago, that I went to the volunteering, but after I finished the volunteering, I was feeling that I'm not spending enough time with people, trying to make new connections. And I feel this makes me really sad. So I asked myself, what is the right thing to do today? And I'm not sure that my decision was a good decision. So I'm just saying that sometimes
It's hard to know.
a lot of times it's not, I'm not sure, like, because sometimes it's very, like I heard someone I know this thing, but sometimes it's not very.
이런 거 세상에.
저저치야.
네, 저와 내가 뭐보다 그냥 자기까지 내가 자리에 무슨 시간을 가면 na tringa volunteer work here. Now dit sabla and la yongi ina que mon poisson de time kari ne dit chela ne kari ya dit chela na chila na dit la dona de choire ina un patron que cha gana que pa me le ka ti sam de chare sam ya pore le ka na pore le ka pore to pore na pore nan non che mamma chava che mamma un po' che capire
Yeah. Yeah, then once you share this, data embarrassing.
yeah, that's true. Many times it's hard to identify.
당어서 삼는 논이야. 지금 내가 지나 내가 돼. 양나 야와다 양나 비와세 타니 군이 가나 이바 말했지. 버리들이요. 아니 대지기요레.
And also in our life, so with actions or anything, it's not that there are good actions and bad actions. So there are many things they're in the gray zone. Yeah.
야, 대원디 다시 남비 강리시나 맞아 삼로 거로리야. 삼로데 디센데 숨고 가는 거 당시 로르 숨데 이와시. 그래요르세나 게임게 로만테 숨데 이와시 그치시오. 또 가르냐 게위초 로만테 세운데 게위 삼로에 면조 아니 디바이 마인조 게와 마인조 디버기 삼로에 빼모 부시그시오. 오케이 로만테 세운데
Yeah, so there is a division in Buddhist psychology, which are about virtuous actions, non-virtuous actions, and neutral actions. And there are many of our actions, they fall into these more neutral places.
Yeah, that is some correct 시그레시온데 너드나니 근론가니 남비다르 간시나 근론야 보시 요나 디베 아니 소소니 레카데 And
in Buddhism, the main thing that we use to identify whether an action was good or not, the main thing that Buddhists use to identify is motivation. Yeah. So if you check your motivation, and then it can help you to identify. If your motivation was good, then you usually consider this to be a good action or a bad action. For example. For example, usually we say we cannot lie, you cannot lie. But for example, there is a hunter. And then he's hunting for a deer, he wants to find a deer. And I saw the deer coming running this way. And then the hunter comes to me and he says, hey, did you see the deer running? And what am I going to say? If I say the truth, if I do the right thing of saying the truth, then I have to say, oh, the deer came here. And then the hunter is going to go there and kill the deer. So I'm going to lie. Yeah. And then I'm going to say, oh, he went this way or that way. So because of the motivation here in this,
the quality test
so yeah, so I'm going to be, I'm deceiving the hunter. There is a deceit here happening.
langa ina langa no joshi ne kundo
I'm
ja
sending him in a wrong direction.
ina pasho di so de kono di langa no joshi do ni ka tam ka
But if I compare here the killing or sending someone in the wrong path, deceiving someone, then I can compare the two.
teno tadagi kono ga triando ina nge jashi ja tamba dili yon di yare ni kono tanglen che at mando di yayo mar ka che di shesu ti mar si ne kono ge ta chik kono ge tanglen che le ka chen re te ga du de zinda yon ga du so ge tam ka che se jo chi ta ni ga de so so kono ge che ni pe ni sha ya bo re de ra ta chik di jashi ja ya re chik di ndi ya mar se ga di she me se
Yeah, so I don't know about like being 100% the right decision or what was the right thing to do for you to go to volunteering or to class. But I think with your motivation, I think staying in volunteering was a good decision. Coming to class is a good decision. Good actions. Well,
Sometimes
I don't know what's
influenced by our outside things and we make decisions.
sometimes you're influenced by outside things.
Yeah. Like I give example of us, she was telling that I wanted to go. We met in the morning. She told about this thing, this thing. There are two programs. One is they say is teaching, another is I tell them if you want to go to the voluntary, you go. I go to the Geshe. So maybe that also
Influence.
Wait, you told her that you were coming here?
Yeah, I'll be going here. If you want to go, you go there.
No, you told me, let's go.
Oh no, so it was his phone.
Let's
It's also bullying me.
Let's go.
가가나 치치로는 시겐 립기네. 일단 공기 경기.
Influence thing.
Oh yeah.
I that influence.
Oh, yeah. 야, 남긴 치로는 시겐 태기를 인간은 이체와 그리
되리야
지겐라 되네. 그래서 차지 시겐.
te yare diare se tere
이게 차이말에 좋아하다 요말에 공기 선수 직신하리. 그래서
야 지시 겐데
균에
망보신 것을 가서는 맞아 망보시 셴발에 자체자 참을 수 하고 말이 미치
그렇게 제가
야세 장가서 레카 이나라 레카 자와 레카 제나라 가리나 야세 장가서 미 수수고 야세자 참을 수수고 다 주치리스나 말해 가르치는 셴발에 땡고 빼만 보여 야와이 레카 야 보이나 셴바시 어때 지나 야 보여래 대변도 망보여 미 망볼 뱅그레나 인플루언스 수수 어때 레카 지나요 그래서 수수년에 살아도 안 말. 되네도 저도 가서 긴세한테 야세자 수수는 거 많이 봐. 셴바 아니네 셴바 꿀마치 디 수수께는 야래다 그는 야치르 등이 버거워요.
Yeah, in life, we don't have this independence 100%. I want to do what I decide to do. So all the time we're being influenced by other people in the positive way, negative way. We are inspired by other people, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that in some ways, with the creative minds, we can just
For the what,
convince
sorry?
creative minds, we
Okay.
can find reasons to have good motivations for everything. Right? So where do we cross the line of having true good motivation versus me just convincing myself that, oh yeah, I went here to gain more wisdom. But really, I was too lazy to do the volunteer and I didn't really want to go there because it's too much work and
Some coisa que
That's it, fine.
não lá. São da tanto giringa, não só da de love gire. E nem a mais nem que na pena Krishna ga chega do me lelo wangi sare da yang ngala ga kari labien. Oh ngala ko não são foi nga tsinta la jola e tento chasere. Ni kari susso da zuma shigire da bore. Ni tam kawa da shagore. Tsang
오늘 좀 와서
tam kawa da
나
Kaisina di gunong chikula tenina di lega yamure lega du chare ani pela mi mancha na lega du chena yang kuran seki lamna kuran so lamna
예
gunong pengo ya pore di lagire
야야
ni lega de soda den dige mare
야야 얘들로 와래
somandi gunong monne tamam marera dinge sensure con la massa
Yeah.
그러나 레로는 레로디 그런 게 그런 영어래.
그래. 그래, 다들 지도니 이하드 거리 되어도 거리세. 삼다도 지에도 배치도니 배가고요. 하고씩 그런 직접 시작하다. 당연히
Yeah,
거리가
so in general, sometimes it's usually hard to define what is a good motivation, bad motivation, specifically speaking.
마보시 맞추 원지 마토라 강실 뭐니 세대 맞추 원지 지야데 도초인게 뭐보유시 그래서.
There are many times that there are motivations hidden behind that we cannot even identify, we cannot see, but they're still there. If you look into reality, these motivations, they are there.
소소 그런데 뭐니 세니까 만든 바예요, 좋고요.
Many times, 그런 게 그런 그래?
배낭에서 지금 뭐 야보시오 당원이 세들이 섬서 삼로시 당나요. 되는 뭐니 세트 마인죠.
Many times it can happen that we think, oh, I really have a good motivation to do this action. But if you look into reality, your motivation is not that good.
Yeah.
If you actually see the whole picture.
배낭다 가려운 거래서나 다 다그 그런 세나지. 단디 만진다도 샤나 그래서 해줘 장야지라 그래서 저를때 내가 실을 제목고 니 장야 뭐 보시라레스 다 지금 바라네 직접 간다나 기도는 약고들의 양에 깔로 뭐 최고야 딜리언 가서 다 직서서 가서잖아요 릴로기차 대치양 요레스타디.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for example, just an example, not talking about her, not talking about you. So we can think, hey, I'm going to study there, I'm going to do a good thing. But actually you have the thought, you have the feeling, if I go to work now to do that, it's such a lot of work, I don't want to do effort. So this laziness is part of your motivation. So even if you don't say it to yourself, it's still there.
양 삼성을 가려잖아. 소소가 당바래. 집 내간으로 직지하래. 그런 그 땅에 소소 샘시 있게 땅에 대소 강래야. 녹용스체 양들이 식당. 되네 내가 제간으로 남서 샘시 못 차야. 인지 그런 기니 땅을 식당 못 장고 진짜를 시죠. 일단도 니로 녹용 삼로 당당 간이 당고도 이 집에는 집 땅내로 제간으로는 샘시 있게 땅에 밀을 지그런 그 땅 상마디 야세에서 샘. 그런
But if the person has a thought that, okay, I'm going there to study, I'm going to learn about these things, I'm going to learn better ways of thinking, so that when I am in relation, and when I am, in society, then I have to talk to people, I have to work, I'm going to be able to do this in a better way, and etc. Then it's the opposite. Then it becomes more and more. The percentage of the positive motivation becomes higher. The more you think like this.
Can I ask one more about this?
Yeah.
I've also learned, especially with meditation, that thoughts just come in and we are not our thoughts. And so I can see myself like deciding, should I volunteer? Should I go to the Geshe teaching? But then it'll just cross my mind like, yeah, but maybe it's a lot of work. I don't want to do it. But that may not be necessarily me, but it just crossed my mind. How do you then differentiate, right? Because truly motivation, I can convince myself really motivated to learn, or I convince myself I'm really motivated to volunteer. But then now that it's in some ways tainted, poisoned by that idea that crossed my mind that like, yeah, but you really don't want to work. It's too hot outside.
Namjung er dan zodat nam to mopo koigire, sam nam mopo koigire. Ani na so benanga takchegona Tsering ale kacheka dogi ana cintada dogi. Ani samlo kabla samlo mopo koigire, ani samlo chik bena ti leka chika dona kipo mindu skale kapoere, ani samlo koitugire. Ani ngai gulong rebe, ani samlo nam tak chigure di kare. Ngai gulong di rebe. Yeah.
Yeah, 대도 다대요래. 아니, 나비 슝노네 그놈들이 니 그시요. 지 그놈들 뒤주 그놈들.
그래?
주
그놈 lesson.
뒤주 그놈들 우리 다들 그놈지. 아니, temporary 서울 extendedly 그런 로버트 카틱 삼는 거니. yung
Adventitious.
maybe I don't know. Then I was a chick Langana ship and Rode Tambo, Tanga Basuto go some Samlo Kor, one detail or that. Basuto goes some coding about the Pandori. The color me cannot deacon with the intro, the one gate, or a Pandori. That Pandori got the Paritawashi, Samlo Shambash. Oh, that. Renata Casama, Sila Consul, part of the Casares, Shambash later. The only interest I captured Givatams. Telia, and a critical, digital. When you check the jury, Tambo, Basin Jetty chair. Shamba the Basin Realia captured Givatams. Shamba young, Shamba and Givatam, digital.
Monsieur, in un Gugi Glonyan, they can say Zula Canadrea.
Tele Jura, Shamba and a co. Lekat nyam den joshi ti su tarang le kono shamba chines ti kono la ni o chore ti kono chik ti karsana so so ji kono go lekat le pento ki chik che nyam de yonjo o dang ni ban jo ko du langa pan tre ka le o ta nam shi ya ko ni ban dana ya se le samne shik cher den ni
Yeah, so there are different types of motivation. So one division that we can say there are two types of motivation. I don't know the translation. I just heard about this for the first time, so I don't know in English. But it's the causal motivation that becomes a cause, and the one is more temporary motivation. So, for example, you want to go to Baksu waterfall. So first you have the thought, oh, it would be nice to go to Baksu waterfall. So you go to Baksu waterfall, and then when you're on the way, you think, oh, maybe actually it's better if I go to the temple, if I go to Solnes temple, and then that harms your first drive, right, to go to Baksu waterfall. This is the second one, the temporary motivation. And there are two kinds of temporary motivations. One, which helps your original motivation. So you could think like, I want to go to Baksu waterfall. But then you can also think, oh, I want also to have a picnic there with my friends. So this becomes stronger and stronger, your wish to go to Baksu waterfall. Or it can be one that harms your initial motivation, such as going to the temple.
Time, I don't know.
The second one, the translation here is the motivation of time. I don't know if that's better.
Oh, Tonda Garson. Lekati Chega teacher, Lekati Kangan, G. Kalunga Wangi Lekashi, Penatana, Pasquandre, Java de Lekati. Teacher Teliam, Kalon Shambati Leam. Time say good.
So basically the meaning of being temporal, maybe better than temporary, or the motivation of time is that it happens in conjunction at the same time as the other motivation. So it's like they're fighting or they are benefiting each other. So it's like two motivations working at the same time or more.
Okay. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
Sorry?
How do you figure it out which one to do? It must be very frustrating to like motivation A, motivation B. Like every time we go to the bathroom. Motivation A, motivation B.
Just yeah.
Temporal. Oh, temporary was the first
one. The first one is the motivation of cause, you can say. Motivation of cause. Like what causes you to do something. The motivation of cause, Gyugi. Yeah, that's the literal translation. Motivation of cause, like cause and effect. Cause and effect, motivation of cause. And the second one, motivation of time. These are literal translations. I don't know if it's the best translation, sorry.
What would be motivation of cause?
Motivation of cause is like your original motivation. Like I want to go to Baksu waterfall, and that makes you go to Baksu waterfall. But at the same time that you have this motivation to go to Baksu waterfall, also another motivation pops up in your mind to do something else. And that's the one that's the motivation of time, because it's at the same time as the motivation of cause. They have like a relationship with these two motivations.
단대는 세는 바 순조고 섬에 그런 담보지 디질이야 액션 되는 이 gen상 액션 되 거는 자와데 디 그런데 주체할 때는 저 조진 이 그런
Yeah, so it's called the motivation of cause because it causes the next action. It causes, for example, you to go to Baksu waterfall. If you have this thought, I want to go to Baksu waterfall.
다이나 레카데 자와데 조심be 까블이야. 조심바데
But as you're doing the action, the same time,
이 까블이야. 그노 양조 가리용 그래서 그노 찍대 텔레 티지 그노 랍고야 가르치 티지 그노데 티 티소 가르스는 레카치와 티소데당 그노니가 냠데 주고.
why is it called the motivation of time? We say time because it's at the same time that you're doing the work of the other motivation, this one pops up together. Yeah.
액션은 냠데. 다디 그노 찍대 가르스는 저런 게 담보지 그노 레카치 자와치 좀 자텔이야. 펜통게 찍어 냠데. 다
And then there are motivations of time that pops up at the same time as you're doing the action of another motivation that helps you into this action. They're just going to reinforce your wish to do this action. And one is going to become an obstacle. It's going to become a cause to do something else. This is an obstacle, yeah.
That's always.
Yeah. It's a mess, yeah, inside here.
Like learning or going to parade.
Yeah, I was thinking right now, yeah. And I also want to get some chocolate, so if you can finish. If you can finish some, please. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but that was
Maybe not.
a cause.
Thank you. Wow, mystic. Wow. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I also have a question.
It's
Also,
Thank you.
bugging my mind since early the beginning. You said something when talking about the second rule, like if you do your best, it's fine, even if you're regretting things. When you know you have done your best, it's fine. But as well as when it comes to motivation, I was thinking like, okay, for example, a friend needs help for, I don't know, some physical things, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit painful in the back. I'm not sure if it's the best idea for me to help her because maybe it get worse. So what's the good decision there? Helping my friend, or I don't know, how bad is the back pain really?
You have the back pain, or your friend has
Yeah,
back pain?
if I have back pain and someone
Maybe it's gonna
asks
get
for my
worse.
help for doing.
So you're not sure if you can do.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe I probably am sure I can, but what happens afterwards,
okay.
maybe, and then it's getting.
you Geshe penanga mashpajinga ropa chega drogona inayong penanga natsa jige. Aninga nega dichina yanatsa kari dichina duru ire. Inanda panga nipa ye. Ring kirang mama kirang ngala nipa kang yana. Di some di some di de center.
Okay.
Yeah, the kari chegare na. Yeah, nipa yona ina chinang ina sa di dogire ina patama nipa yo patama ropa pangla ropa chetu yo ina yang.
Akas roba chekan tone chichena nasa tigrin lugres.
Duru dogire.
Eta chumaro. Nasa tigrin manja susu hakone tangi nasa tigrin drase ani tele kaya sesh. Kaya ma.
Kaya la.
Zumando. Is excuse chesh.
No, ngane duru dogire di ngane jida di.
The coins locker. Tate Diana Samlo Petka ni chi Nyalimba Topa Tombo to Samlo Tai Chi. To Zoyanan, Suso Rosoli Tansi. Suso Karina, Pena, Chichina Jusukui, Tomba, Tamoli Gensesh, Suso Jimbaton, Suso is a pot some ta. The Zoyan Petka.
Yeah.
Samlo Penitsin Tombo Kacheri. This one was a tomboni gumare. This was a pita satiritina. The Matunde was the color of a chimandra, the Geshe Jatamba teacher is a kichamar. Carson Susol and we can.
Yeah, so these situations they vary. They depend on other things. For example, if we talk about practitioners, you know, these high practitioners, then there are many stories of them going to great distances of sacrificing themselves to help other sentient beings. For example, there are many stories in Buddhism of bodhisattvas, these high practitioners called bodhisattvas. They, for example, they see a tiger hungry and they don't have any food to give to this tiger, so they give their own body to this tiger. But this is very high level of practice. We don't practice these things, and we cannot say that if you have this pain, if you have the fear that it's going to get worse if you go to help your friend, you cannot say with 100% that's a bad action not going there to help your friend. So it's going to depend. Yeah.
Yeah, ngien ngaran ro samla dana. Pen ta chi kurang ro pa de na yo cha sha ne ban ro cha cha sha. Ta so so ngole ne cha shi na. Ta di ko ro ba ne chen ro ni so so na sa de rin na. Me ni na pa ma re cha shi cha gro. Yo de yang ta pa sho de mo ni pe ka ning ga shi tam shu ta de ni na yang dam ga lo wa re. Mai na yang
The way
de ning ga yo ma re.
the way I think, for example, your friend has a sickness, needs some help. You also have a pain. You also have something that can get worse if you go to there. So maybe if you go there and you help your friend and your sickness get worse, then you know the end result of your action, you just maybe you even made sickness increase. If you in total the two people, maybe even the pain is now bigger than if you had not done anything. And of course, but it also depends on the situation. If your friend is, you know, at a life and death situation, then of course it's going to be a different talk. Yeah.
And
if you really have to go, there's nobody else that can go. Nobody else that can go to help this person. And in this situation, then you have to go and do something.
Yeah.
So, making ourselves priority, like that is against the love and compassion.
Yeah, wisdom.
Love and compassion again. So is it good sometimes, like if I can help one of my friends in trouble or something, but at that time I want to make myself priority. I'm the priority.
Yes, I don't
So I'm giving myself more priority than my friend.
No,
So kind of selfishness. In my course, I call it
selfishness.
in a positive way.
In positive way.
In a positive way.
Is selfish.
I give priority to myself more than others. That goes against the love and compassion. Is it okay? I am able to help, but I'm not doing that, but I am doing it to myself.
Yeah, so giving priority to yourself, you're saying that it's against compassion, but it still is a good thing. You see, this is a good kind of selfishness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's no question or question.
Is it a good thing
Okay.
to be giving ourselves priority?
Better service for other people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's opposite to compassion. Thought.
Yeah.
For example, so it's in the Buddhist text, it says that if you're sick, you need to treat yourself. You need to get better. You need you need to think about this.
basic color. Pena susu leka chumbosi chia la ya, leka ya chumbosi chia de muyir chia, susu muyir de chi.
For example, let's say you have an objective in life, you have a goal in life, you want to do a very extensive work for sentient beings,
Yeah.
beneficial work.
Ta tindri chia de la tambo susu ni samlo ge Chinese kachi shena tanda chi chanchu ge sen de shenpen samlo tangare. Te maying ge tindri susu li tende ani nyarsa chi korse. Susu li te. Sipo.
So from one side, in order to accomplish this goal, then yeah, from the side inside yourself, inside your mind, you meditate, you cultivate bodhicitta and the wish to benefit others. From another side also, to accomplish this goal, you need to take care of your body, of your health.
But then it's not.
But then you take care of yourself. But then the reason for you to be taking care of yourself, for you to be taking care of this person here, the I, it's not for your objectives, because you have this objective about, you have a greater objective in life, right? So you're taking care of yourself because of others, and then it's not in opposition to compassion, to great compassion.
Miti samlakaru susu masandi muchirna ngayon di chet tanga penzu chinchirida di chet tanga no tanga chote yapos machena yo kusu moboji peto to samare kusu dindi komo yona pitch any chamsi tanga kachmarisi.
For example, if we use a small example, a very small example, let's say there is someone that provides for a family, provides for a household. And in order for, there are 5-10 people in this household, and the clothes that these people wear, the food that they have, the being able to stay in this house, all depends on this person, on the job that this person is going to do on a daily basis. And then if this person gets sick, if this person gets very sick, then there's not going to be food on the table, there's not going to be clothes to wear, they're not going to be able to pay rent. So because in a very small example, because this person has in his or her mind that he or she has to provide for the family, so she or he is going to do the best not to get sick. It's going to do the best to take care of herself.
Yeah. Well, there's a indeed there's a chatting so
So for this purpose, then you do the best for yourself too, and then it's not in opposition. It's not opposite to the practice of compassion or love.
Maybe also
yeah. So we had
to have time to like there's I have a bunch of questions that would go too long and too deep now and go off from the topic we just discussed here. So actually, can we start with the opposite powers again next session?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because actually we just crossed 10 minutes after the time of the class. So maybe now we can leave.
Yeah.
Then we continue next time.
Thank you.
Tomorrow for you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Perry. Thank you, YT.
Okay. All right.